Hi, innovators. Welcome to the CanInnovate podcast, where we highlight Canadian innovators who are changing the game. I'm Sapna Malhotra, your proud Canadian host. This podcast is about providing industry insights from Canadian innovators that are doing it. These guys share their thought leadership, some insights, and provide us with a wide view of what is really happening in the industry. So I actually have just recorded an amazing episode with Andreas. He is the CEO of Carrot Rewards. And I have to tell you, this episode really inspired me and really I thought, you know what, we can really innovate our lives really quickly here. And being that it's end of January and many of us had our New Year's resolutions and we're looking to innovate our lives in 2018, we just may need an additional tool to help us succeed. Well, I have one for you, Carrot Rewards. It actually gives you rewards based on, one, your favorite loyalty reward, so whether it is Aeroplan or Points or whatever it is. Two, we get to challenge ourselves, and they give us tips about different pieces, whether you're counting your steps, your food, whatever it is. It actually helps us with those different things and becomes a bit of a game for us. Including, he just mentioned on the podcast that they're actually also talking about financial literacy tips and so on. There's just so much that's going on there. So I've been using this app and I'm loving every minute of it. And those that are looking for something to kind of help you with your own resolutions or areas that you wanted to change for 2018, definitely take a look at this and listen to this episode. So this is episode 16. Carrot Rewards is the perfect app to dangle in front of us to make the change stick. So today we have the serial social entrepreneur Andreas Souvaliotis, who was the founder of the world's first eco rewards program and more recently the world's first public wellness rewards initiative in partnership with the government of Canada called Carrot Rewards. He has been recognized globally for his achievements in influencing and rewarding behavior changes on a mass scale. Andreas is a prominent Canadian thought leader and advocate for Canadian and innovative approaches to social change, particularly around the areas of public health, promotion, climate change, awareness, and citizenship. So welcome, Andreas. Did I miss anything in that intro?
You missed absolutely nothing.
Excellent.
Good to be here.
Thank you. So tell me, what exactly is Carrot Rewards besides a really, catchy name?
Well, as your listeners will probably know already, Carrot is the most popular wellness app in our country. So really, Carrot is a new way to try and deliver wellness to Canadians compared to the traditional methods that have been used all over the world. So when you think of how we have tried to convince our fellow citizens, not just in Canada, but in any country, to live a little bit healthier so that everybody saves a lot of money down the road when they get old. We've used some pretty traditional tools. We've typically put up billboards on the street telling people to quit smoking, or we've run TV ads trying to convince people to get their flu shot, or we've put ads in magazines or in doctors' offices telling people to exercise a little bit more. Those methods kind of work, but frankly, they're a little bit too old school. They are fairly inefficient because we really never know how many people pay attention to billboards or TV ads anymore. They're definitely ineffective in the sense that even if you do see the TV ad, there is probably nothing coming your way after that would help reinforce the message and get you to a flu shot clinic. But most importantly, they have no data. You can have millions of TV ads appear all over the world and billions of people see those TV ads, but we will never know exactly who did what as a result of seeing that. Carrot solves all those issues because Carrot essentially combines two of our national addictions. One of our addictions is our smartphones. We have our smartphones on us every day, every moment of every day. And our second addiction is loyalty points. We love collecting points everywhere we go in our lives. So the whole idea behind Carrot was, what if we created an app that was on your phone all the time and rewarded you with your favorite points every single time you looked at it? And what I mean by favorite points, we never created Carrot points. We never gave Carrot points to Canadians. We gave them whatever points they collect already, like scene points for going to the movies, or Aeroplan Miles for traveling, or Petro-Points for getting free gas, and so on and so on. So essentially, Carrot became almost like an aggregator of rewards, and we left the choice of reward up to every single user.
Oh, I love this. I love this. I can't wait. I've actually downloaded it on my phone and I started to play with it. And I was like, oh, I can't wait because I couldn't believe that it's actually, I get to leverage the rewards and the loyalty points that I've already been accumulating with other providers and not another set of rewards. So this is fantastic. So how long ago did this all start?
So 3 years ago exactly, we sat down with the federal government of Canada and decided to do this. And the reason the government was involved is because in our country, healthcare is delivered by government, which means that health promotion is an incredibly good investment by governments to try and impact the size of our healthcare bill down the road. So if governments are smart at how they promote health and wellness, they will definitely save money down the road because people will live healthier. So we sat down together with the feds and we said, let's come up with this radical idea. It hasn't been tried anywhere else in the world. Let's create this platform that will have lots and lots of Canadians on it. Let's try and put as many Canadians on it as we can. And the contribution of the federal government was remarkable. They said, great. Our job will be to put as many Canadians on this thing as possible. So we will fund the points that you get just for downloading this free app. So the app is free, but not only is it free, you actually get a whole bunch of your favorite points just for putting it on your phone. The other thing the federal government funds is the referral points. So you know how when Uber launched, they gave you a referral bonus so you could actually get a free ride if you referred somebody else. We kind of do the same thing on Carrot, where as soon as you install Carrot, the first offer that you see is an offer to get a whole bunch more points just for referring a friend. And every time, for the rest of your life on Carrot, every time you refer somebody, you get more points. All of this was funded by the federal government because they saw the beauty in creating as large a population of users on this app as quickly as possible. And because of that, even though the app has only been running in most parts of the country for the past year, we already have more than 2/3 Canadians using Carrot. So in our tiny country, we're closing in on 1 million users already, which is pretty amazing.
That is brilliant beyond belief. So when you say health and wellness, like that's a pretty broad topic. Is it just like around food or is it more than just food?
I'm glad you asked because it's actually changing before our eyes. So it all started with core health and wellness, which is things like physical activity and just kind of learning how to live healthy in general, how to cook healthy, why you need a flu shot, why you shouldn't smoke, why you shouldn't drink too much, and so on and so on. So it began from kind of like a core health and wellness message around the app. And by the way, when I talk about physical activity, one of the cool things we could do with this app is count your steps every day, because your phone counts your steps anyway, and set goals for you and reward you for achieving those daily goals. So if you can believe this, the 2/3 Canadians who are on our app today are already walking 20% more every single day on average than they were before they had this app on their phones. Just because we dangle a few points in front of them every day and we say, look, achieve your target, hit your 8,000 or 10,000 or whatever it is, your personal step goal every single day. And every day that you hit it, you'll get more points. So it's been a remarkable game changer already in the core health and wellness space. But the reason I'm glad you asked is because some wonderful things are now starting to happen with Carrot that go beyond its core mission. Many different policymakers across the country, whether it's government policymakers or even in the private sector or in NGOs, have realized that with a platform this big, with this many people engaged, and frankly, with people being so engaged, because Carrot users are actually more like Carrot lovers, with our users being so engaged, there was an opportunity to actually influence behavior in a bunch of other positive areas. So now Carrot contains a lot of financial literacy or financial health messaging that's so important for Canadians. It contains a whole bunch of messaging around environmental health. We have a whole bunch of ministries of the environment or other people who want to promote green living among Canadians, putting out offers through Carrot to the population and encouraging all of us to understand what kind of appliances we should be buying for our home, or to learn about carbon, or to learn about energy conservation, and so on. Even civic wellness. Believe it or not, the Ministry of Labour in Ontario will start soon pushing out offers through Carrot, educating you and me about what kind of contractor we should hire for our house if we're doing a renovation, or how we should be behaving as citizens. There's an amazing range of possibilities of knowledge transfer that we could be using Carrot for now.
So basically, you've started a whole entire new movement. That's what it sounds like. It's a brand new movement that's going to really be able to help all of us figure out how to do things better, easier, faster, and then get rewarded for it.
Yeah, I guess you can call it a movement. We call it a public engagement platform, right? It's a new way to engage the public. The old old way to engage the public, whether you were a bank trying to promote, saving money, or whether you were the government trying to promote anti-smoking stuff, was really advertising. Everybody used to run ads, whether they were Facebook ads or billboard ads or TV ads. The new way, which we think we have invented, which seems to work so well in our country, is by combining, like I said to you earlier, our two afflictions, phones and points. So just create an app that every time I engage with it, it gives me a few more points. The advantage to the advertiser, apart from the fact that we now have an enormous amount of data that we can gather from this, the main advantage to the advertiser is efficiency. It is way, way more efficient to only have to pay for the points that somebody earned if they did or if they learned what we asked them to do or learn. If they don't do it, if they don't complete a quiz, if they don't achieve their daily step target, if they don't tell us how they're budgeting, if they don't engage, they don't cost us anything, which is exactly the opposite of advertising, right? With advertising, you used to write a check for $1 million for a campaign to run, and you were hoping that campaign would be watched and generate some results. With us, you only pay for the people who actually do something.
This is awesome. What's interesting is that I was just thinking about my little nieces. They're very, very physically active, but they don't eat very well. And I was looking on your website that I noticed that you also target a lot of schools and parents and teachers and students in that space. So you already have quite a few schools already utilizing this?
Yeah, schools essentially promote Carrot among their employees, among their students, and so on. In general, a lot of organizations want to promote Carrot among their customers or among their key audiences because they understand that it makes them look good as well. So we have many, many doctors' offices, for instance, from all across the country, writing to us and asking us for Carrot posters. So they can have a poster in the doctor's office. So while you're sitting there killing time waiting for your appointment, you can quickly download the Carrot app and you can become part of a movement, as you called it. The other thing I wanted to mention, though, you talked about your nieces, the important thing about Carrot is that we are actually not aimed at the healthy segment of the population. We're aimed at the whole population. Our messaging is appropriate for every single Canadian. We don't say to you, come to Carrot because you love being healthy or because you love being financially healthy. We say to you, come to Carrot because we'll give you more points. Period. End of story. Right? And because every single citizen loves their points, that means we appeal to every single citizen.
Well, it's a win-win situation for me because honestly, I can just see how many people, as soon as this podcast goes out, I'm sure other people are going to start downloading using it as well. Now, can I ask another silly question? Being that he said I can do referral to my friends, and if I'm doing steps, can I see what my friends are doing in steps as well and kind of compete with them?
Absolutely. You can see that, and it's working really well, actually. Well over 100,000 of our users have already started connecting with their friends. It's a new feature that we launched on the app recently. The next thing that's coming is you'll actually be able to earn together with your friends. So instead of you having to earn by yourself, by achieving your daily goal, you'll now also be able to combine your achievement every day with the achievement of a friend, and you would earn together. So that peer-to-peer functionality will revolutionize people's attention to physical activity every day.
Oh, I love this. Because there's been so many different types of services or groups that keeps looking for a fitness buddy. And now you can have a virtual fitness buddy anywhere across Canada and be able to do this. This is brilliant. I am so beyond excited. So tell me something. How did you get this idea off the ground? Like, you came up with this idea and then you approached the government and they just automatically took to it? Or did you have to do some sort of proof of concept? Or how did that all come about?
It's a much longer story, but I'll try and make it really, really short for your listeners. My last business, which you referenced in your introduction, which was the world's first eco-points or green points business, ended up attracting the attention of governments. We had government agencies all over the country realizing that they could use points and incentives to get people to behave greener a lot faster than the old method, which, as I said many times before, is all advertising. So instead of running ads and saying, hey, Andreas, take the bus, it's better than driving your car to work, by giving me points for taking the bus, they knew that they would actually have a much lower cost of acquisition. It would cost them a lot less money to convince me to do this. And frankly, they would have a much more creative way of reaching the population. So we started kind of experimenting with a bunch of government agencies over the last several years. And little by little, that morphed into more of a conversation about more policy areas than just the environment. And especially the health area attracted a lot of attention because, as you know, as a country, and as many countries in the Western world, we're spending a lot of money trying to fix ourselves once we're sick, once we're broken. And the idea was, could we maybe spend a little bit of money trying to prevent people from becoming broken? Instead of having to fix them, could we actually spend a bit of money trying to convince them to live better so that they don't need fixing? And so the idea of carrot rewards was one of these sort of cool examples of, hey, could we maybe just reward people for learning how to live better or for living better, right? We can do it both ways. We can do it as part of knowledge transfer. We can give them points just for listening to us and taking a quiz or telling us how they eat today, and we can show them how to eat better. Or we can do it by helping them achieve a daily physical activity goal. And little by little, the concept became a firm idea. Then, because we had already been working with the federal government of Canada with my last business, we already knew people in Ottawa who were interested in this broader idea. And I'll tell you that two things that won their hearts in the end were, one, the fact that this was going to be entirely based on phones, because everybody in Ottawa understood that the center of attention for all of our fellow citizens has shifted away from our traditional wallet to our phone. And the second thing that really won them over was the fact that by having a mobile app like this, we were earning ourselves the versatility of being able to give you whatever points you like, whatever rewards you like. We were no longer tied to a physical wallet and you having to pull out a physical plastic card and swiping it somewhere to earn points. This was all done through a phone, which means through the phone, you could choose whatever reward currency that happens to appeal to you.
I'm sold. I'm beyond sold. I'm now just thinking in my head of how many people I'm going to be inviting to this and challenging. And I'm just thinking also I'll probably actually get this episode out sooner than later because everyone that started off with their New Year's resolutions might need this type of app to kind of help them get over the hump and get really, that adoption of change that's happening out there. So I might have to bump up the publishing schedule on this one, on this episode.
Well, and that's exactly how our almost 1 million users are reacting, frankly. Once they start using this thing, they realize it's a win-win, right? Not only does it help you live a little better, a little healthier, a little more financially healthy, a little more environmentally healthy, but frankly, and I say this kind of in a funny way, it's a bit of a selfish app, right? Not only is it free, but it gives you lots of goodies. It gives you lots of points every single time you interact with it. So why not have it? Why not use it? So it's super, super popular. We are truly one of the most popular apps in this country in terms of engagement. When people download Carrot, they can't stop using it. And unlike all of the other wellness apps you would see out there, we have almost no attrition. People just don't disengage. There's no reason to delete Carrot off your phone because as long as you keep it there and as long as you look at it once in a while, you'll keep earning more points.
Oh, I love it. So as you are a serial entrepreneur with so many of these amazing successes under your belt, I'm pretty sure we can learn a lot more from you. Like, what were some of the biggest aha moments or lessons learned in any of your ventures that we can kind of learn from?
I'm a marketer in addition to being a serial entrepreneur. In fact, I grew up in the marketing space. And I can tell you, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you're a CEO of some visible existing company or whether you run a charity, in all cases, you have to focus on your niches. You have to focus on niche messages. You have to make yourself or your business or your cause memorable. If you are just like everyone else, if you're using cliche words or cliche themes, or if you're simply trying to do what everybody else is doing but just doing it a little bit better, you won't be memorable. It won't be as easy for you to sort of stand out and have people follow you and have your ideas become successful. So focus always on different, on niche, on cool. One of my favorite commercials of all time, which actually the script of which hangs all over our offices, is the crazy commercial that Apple released when they rebranded themselves about 20 years ago in the late 90s. It's known as the Misfits or the Crazy Ones. It's a very, very popular commercial, and if you go on YouTube, you'll be fascinated by watching it. It was definitely the most successful Apple commercial ever. And essentially what that commercial says is, there's a whole bunch of crazy people out there that we think are weird. We are sort of intimidated by them. We are afraid by them. We are sometimes frustrated by them. They're like the round pegs that we're trying to fit into square holes. But the funny thing about these people is you can't ignore them, right? They stand out. They stand out everywhere. And ultimately, they're the ones who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world, and ultimately they change the world. So the theme behind both my businesses has been exactly that, and it has paid off.
No, I love that. I love the round pegs and square holes. And for our listeners out there, I'll find the commercial for the Misfits Apple commercial and put it in the show notes so that everyone has access to it. I'm looking forward to seeing it myself. So, Andreas, as you as a person, I mean, do you have any key business philosophies or favorite quotes?
I just gave you my quote. So essentially that commercial is kind of my quote, right? I have I don't know if you are mentioning this to your listeners or not, but I might as well say it. I wrote a book once upon a time. The book was not written to make a penny. In fact, I donate all the proceeds. It was a memoir after I sold my last business. And the book is called Misfit. And strangely, even though I self-published initially, the book became a bestseller in Canada, and it has influenced a whole bunch of people and themes out there. And the reason I called my book Misfit is because I am a misfit. And frankly, all of us are misfits. Some of us have admitted it more than others. We all grew up feeling weird, feeling like we are the different guy or the different girl, and somebody doesn't want to talk to me because I am different. And we tried very, very hard to hide the things that made us feel different. Well, as I learned a little bit later in life by becoming an accidental entrepreneur, the things that make us different are actually the things that make us successful. I have a reasonably famous misfit who's a good friend of mine. He ended up succeeding a little more than myself, and he has now become the Prime Minister of our country, Justin Trudeau. And Justin and his wife wrote the foreword to my book. And in the foreword, they use a line which frankly summarizes everything I want to share with your listeners, which is so their line in my foreword goes like this. They say that too often in our quest to fit in and to live normal, we end up quashing those very things that could make us special. And that is really if you're asking me about favorite quotes and favorite themes, that's what I'm all about, right? Try and figure out what is it about you that's special, that's different. Maybe you have crazy ideas. Maybe you are an edgy marketer. Maybe you only focus on numbers as you look at the world around you and as you look at trends and future themes. Whatever it is about you, figure it out. Don't be embarrassed about it. And instead, use it as fuel for your success.
Oh, that is fantastic. I am so proud to be a misfit, and now I know a better word of what to call myself. So that feels fantastic. I love that. Is there any productivity tools that you use? I mean, you're juggling so many things. How do you stay on top of it?
I stay on top of it by using passion. I don't use any productivity tools, no. I surround myself by people who are my opposites. Frankly, you can only have so many misfits in a room, and I am a bit of an extreme misfit. So I do have a lot more, I wouldn't call them conventional, but I would certainly call them a lot more structured and sophisticated colleagues who balance out my misfitness. And so that helps make me a lot more productive, because you definitely need a whole bunch of antidotes in the room. I also stay productive by being very passion-focused, right? I focus on the things that really draw me. If you make me work on things that are less than passionately appealing to me, I will definitely become a lot less productive. I'll look for reasons to be distracted. I will spread my attention to other things, and I will simply not do as well. But if I focus my energy on the things that are passion drivers, I am about as productive as it gets.
Oh,
and that's not just about me, by the way. That is about you, and it's about every single person that's listening to this podcast right now.
Wow, you are definitely inspirational, that's for sure. Especially, wow, this is amazing advice. And I was going to ask you about if there's a business book or a podcast or anything that you've listening to or currently recommend. And you mentioned your book, which I'm definitely going to put in the show notes as well. And I'm going to pick up a copy myself because I can't wait to read it. Is there anything else, other kind of books that you or magazines or that you kind of go to for sources of inspiration?
Those change every month, right? There's new things that come out all the time that I find appealing. The reason I mention my book is because it's a business book that's not a business book, right? It's the story of a person. And yet by reading that story, you'll be able to relate to yourself very quickly, and you'll be able to figure out what is it about you that you could harness differently. My main regular chronic business read, however, and this may surprise you, and I purposely bring this up all the time with millennials because I think it makes such a difference, is, believe it or not, the Globe and Mail. When I was going to MBA school, an incredibly long 30 years ago, I had a prof sit me down and say to me, if you ever want to become a well-rounded leader and if you want to be an inch ahead of your competitors, read the Globe and Mail cover to cover every day. And somehow, because I was a very young, very impressionable man back then, it really stuck with me. It developed into a bit of a habit, to the point where I swear to you, if I miss a day of the Globe and Mail right now, no matter where I am in the world, I feel deprived. I feel like I've missed out on something in life. I feel like it's so necessary for me to read the Globe every day and understand what's going on around me. It doesn't have to be about business. It can just be about the world. It can be about climate change. It can be about crime. It can be about new kinds of transportation. It can be about anything. But that kind of well-roundedness makes us much, much better innovators. It makes us much better clients. It makes us much better people managers. It just helps make you more successful at whatever it is you're doing.
Oh, that's great advice. Actually, and you're right, I am surprised that you gave that answer. So out of curiosity, do you get the newspaper delivered to your doorstep still, or are you a digital print type of guy?
I am a digital print kind of guy. I actually have a strong aversion to reading news online because most publications around the world, their online news is actually not as thorough and deep as the print version of the news. Having said that, I can't handle the thought of, a heavy piece of paper showing up at my door every day. And because I travel a lot, I can't see myself sitting on a plane seat, spreading my arms 5 feet wide to open the newspaper. So I get a PDF version of the paper delivered to me every day on my iPad. And that way I can get it no matter where I am in the world, and I can leaf through it in my own time, whether I'm sitting on a plane or on a train or in the bathroom.
That's excellent. In the bathroom, that was cute. So do you have a personal habit that helps you stay productive?
Personal habits? Well, exercise. It's another one of my little addictions. I can't go through a day without exercising at some point, and it does definitely help clear the mind and add productivity. Here's one that'll surprise you as well. I do lunch, and I've always done lunch. I believe that lunch is part of your workday. It's not just the moment where you stop and feed yourself. It's a moment where you use the nourishment requirement to connect with somebody else. So typically I do business lunches. If for some reason I end up with a day where I don't have a business lunch, it is wonderful to hang out with my colleagues, but it still feels like work in a good way. It still feels like it's part of my job to not just eat by myself. I will never, ever, ever have lunch by myself. So if I'm in the office, I'll have lunch with my colleagues. If I'm out of the office, I'll have lunch with whoever I'm supposed to be having lunch with for whatever reason, whether it's just plain networking or a client meeting or a supplier meeting or whatever it is.
Oh, I like that. I haven't thought about that. Actually, when I used to do some work in France, they also had that kind of philosophy too, that they always sat down and they never ate lunch at their desk. They actually always sat down and used it as a time to connect with other people and learn from others. I like that. You really are a breath of fresh air, that's for sure. So, being that you like to lunch, do you have any favorite Canadian towns, cities, restaurants, hotspots, or delights?
Oh boy. Every Canadian town is my favorite, actually, because they all have their unique personalities. I have several of my own kind of favorite lunch spots in downtown Toronto where our office is. I do have one all-time favorite restaurant in our country right now, which is run by 3 exceptional young Canadian entrepreneurs, the people who founded the Food Dudes, which is Toronto's most famous catering company already. They started opening restaurants to reflect their passion for food, and one of them happens to be too dangerously close to my home. It's a restaurant in Toronto called Rasa, as in R-A-S-A. And the reason I'm addicted to it is because every person that works there, whether it's a server, a manager, or a chef, is only working there because they're obsessed with food. They're foodies. So it's kind of like a foodie experience. You don't just go there to hang out. You go there to sort of make love to your food.
That's awesome. And that makes sense, being that you mentioned that you have a marketing personality. All would be about the experience, the width, the depth, the feeling of it. I like
the passion.
It's a passion.
And the passion.
And I am a foodie, so I'm definitely going to be checking that place out. That's for sure. Maybe I'll try to book a business lunch with you.
It's a deal.
Done.
It's a deal.
And finally, how can our listeners connect with you?
Well, so many ways. Obviously, Carrot has a fairly significant presence online, so they can certainly connect with me through the Carrot site or the blog. They can also connect with me through the site of my book. So it's misfit-thebook.com, and many people do that way, actually. And of course, they can connect with me through social media, Twitter and Facebook in particular.
Great. I'll add all those things in the show notes. Andreas, it was such an absolute pleasure speaking with you. And I can't wait to start to challenge all my friends and my family on the Carrot rewards. And yeah, I'm really excited to play with this all.
Good for you. The pleasure was mine as well. Take care.
Cheers. Hey, innovators, thank you so much for joining us this week. I truly appreciate everyone's time. I would love to hear from you. So send me an email, a tweet, message on Facebook, send us an Instagram. I would love to hear it. Reach out. And of course, always putting out a call to action for ratings and reviews. As Gary Vee says, ratings and reviews are my oxygen. So leave a review and I'll be sure to read them out. And of course, share the podcast with your friends and family and nominate a Canadian innovator. Remember, this is our podcast and I look forward to chatting with you next week.